Thank you very much, moderator. Allow me today also to thank the European Strategic Initiative and the Africa-Europe Foundation for this opportunity for hosting this event, which is an opportunity to discuss, let's say, in the broader context of the current crisis with a number of stakeholders, the institutions, allow me to also welcome the ambassador of Ukraine, and private sector, the media, and civil society. So it's a very good opportunity also for me to frame this crisis in the broader, I would say, political context, and also to give you some, let's say, ideas about the European Union and our kind of response to this crisis. And I will then leave my distinguished colleagues, Roberto Beruti and Leonard Bizzi, to elaborate more in details on the specific measures that the European Union is putting on the table. UN Secretary General Guterres referred to this situation, this current global environment, as a perfect storm. And I would add as a perfect and complex storm, which is a combination of food, energy, financial crisis, and that requires complex solutions. And Ambassador, I can tell you there is no ambiguity on the European side. First of all, in the, let's say, definition of this unjustified and illegal aggression, but also that the support to Ukraine is part of this solution. So, of course, food crisis, as I mentioned, is only part of a broader complex crisis. Key drivers of food security in Africa are complex and do not stem only from the recent Russian aggression. I would say that even before the war in Ukraine, we were losing ground in the global fight against hunger. And for several decades, actually, hunger was declining. And also as a result of international community commitment, also in the framework of the Sustainable Development Goals adopted in 2015. However, the COVID pandemic, but also environmental and climate change, land degradation, and conflicts, of course, this is also element of the same equation, have, of course, increased the vulnerabilities, especially in Africa when it comes to food production. So our approach has been always multifaceted. You referred to the AU-EU partnership and to the summit held in February. There was a strong commitment on both sides to respond to these new realities with tangible, operational, and transformational actions. And that's what's happening on the ground. You referred to my recent experience in Rwanda and my longer experience in the continent, almost 20 years in the continent, and I could witness the strong commitment of the European Union and our partner countries in finding solutions which are fully aligned with the ambitions and the aspirations of the country, fully aligned with the local development strategies and objectives. And this was the case, for instance, in Rwanda, where we developed this close partnership, in particular in the agricultural sector, that allowed to already deliver a number of results. I was discussing with the ambassador only a few minutes ago. The post-harvest loss in Africa, in some African countries, represents these days the real issue. So there is not a lack of production, it's a matter of connecting the dots to allow the production to reach the markets, also of course storage facilities, infrastructure, transport infrastructures. We are trying to connect these dots, but once again, fully in line with the local development strategies. And that has been, in my opinion, the real step forward in our recent development and our recent approach with Africa. When it comes to the recent crisis, we have taken a number of initiatives, both at again bilateral level, but also at the macro level. My colleagues, I assume, they will refer to a number of these activities. But there is a strong sense of urgency, so there is a need to act, and we are doing it in what we call a Team Europe approach, so meaning to bring together European member states, the European Union, bringing on board more and more the private sector and non-state actors, which I think we all realize that development cannot happen in isolation, and we need to bring all these actors together. In relation to our, let's say, broader activities, I would like also to refer to the Black Sea Grain Agreement, which was, of course, also strongly supported by the European Union, but also to the Solidarity Lane, a number of initiatives that I'm sure that my colleagues will refer to. But we're also working in the framework of the G7, the G20, working with the IMF, World Bank, in order to increase and step up support and financial support to countries most in need, to debt relief, drawing rights. There is a very wide range of tools that the European Union is trying to promote at the international level. There is an important element there, Ambassador, you refer to this battle of narratives and this use and misuse, I quote you, of Russians in relation in particular to the impact of the EU and the Western sanctions. I think it's very important that what we're doing again at all levels, including on the ground with our partners, to urge them to differentiate between the realities on the ground and these narratives. We are strongly convinced that our sanctions are not really having any impact on these even trade flows, on payments, and we are even trying to identify potential impact, and we are ready to address them. So we are really intensifying our dialogue with our partner countries in order to see whether there is any concrete let's say, element that can be addressed. So whenever we think this propaganda claims that European or Western sanctions are responsible for food crisis, this is nothing but, I think, a cynical lie. And we are here to reaffirm and reiterate these and put things in the right framework. It was mentioned yesterday, there was in New York, in the margin of the UNGA, the Global Food Security Summit, and there was an opportunity again for the broader international community and to bring together African Union, with President Macky Sall, together with President of the European Council, Charles Michel, Prime Minister of Spain, and Secretary of State of the United States, come together in this very critical moment to reiterate, let's say, this need for a more coordinated approach. I think, and also the President of the European Council reiterated this strong call for a multilateral approach, and more than ever, multilateralism is the key, with the UN system at its center. And I think we all have a role to play, even at the regional level. So this is in a nutshell, let's say, the broader context. Once again, my colleagues will elaborate more in details about the specific measures the European Union is taking. But once again, this is an opportunity for us to reiterate the relevance of this EU-AU partnership in this global crisis. We think that together we can make a difference. We think that there is a need to implement and deliver on the commitment made during the summit, and we are convinced that these deliverables can contribute to solving this crisis. Thank you.